Hi, my name is Havy Nguyen, and this is my Math-180 closing assignment. In this presentation, we'll detail what a student should expect when taking the course. So, just a few topics that stuck out to me overall throughout the course. Um, just was like rate of change. I feel like it was a good overarching theme that we went through. Basic slope is like the first thing we covered, which was really refreshing to like go over because we learned that in high school. So just knowing that from high school was a nice transition from that to more complex ideas, linear, cubic, and quadratic functions, and just like how they change. That was kind of hard for me at first, but it was easy for me to like visualize these things. So linear, it's a line. So linear line, cubic, I think of cubes. The S makes me in cubes makes me think of the S shape cubic functions make. In quadratic, I think of hills, even though like that's completely situational, but it makes a hill shape, and I feel like quadratic functions change like the quickest out of the three, and I feel like when you're going up a hill, like you have to kind of go fast because or else the hill is gonna feel like a lot worse than it actually is. And then next, limits. A big thing throughout the course is what is a limit? How can you define it? And I think of it like kind of like a hole in a path. Like because a function is like going towards this limit, but can never truly reach this limit. So I just like to think of it like that because like if you're walking on a path and there's a hole, you're not gonna go over the hole. You're never gonna reach the hole. You're gonna like move across the hole, whatever. Um, derivatives, big one. Um, it's kind of like the rate of change. It's important to know the different rules. I feel like this is everyone's favorite, the power rule. Um, it's really easy to figure out like what the derivative of a function is, and like it's really hard to kind of like verbalize, but if you watch someone do it, you're gonna be like, whoa, this is so easy. And you need to understand why they need to be found. This is like a general statement for everything. It kind of goes with like interpreting your answers. You need to understand why they think these things are happening. Because I feel like sometimes in class I'll be working out the steps just because that's what we learned, but I don't know why we did it. So just knowing why we're doing these things and just like the definitions of things, like the limit thing, is helpful. Helpful resources we use: my math lab, Desmo's Word doc. I will say I used it a bunch, so that's why I thought it was really helpful, and that's what I did all my warm-ups on. Desmos, it is great. It helps you visualize um functions, and you can put multiple functions on it so you can see lines of like how things intersect. And I like how you can make a chart on them, so if you have multiple x inputs into one function, it's really helpful um just to like figure out like how to solve for that input. In the math lab we use that a bunch. That's what most of our homework was, and that's actually what I have on the next slide. My lab, so it's really helpful, especially with the unlimited attempts. Due dates for some reason did not sync with Blackboard. I think it's just because like they're two separate websites and had two different systems. But I had this issue where I constantly like Blackboard would mark something as past due, but I fully finished the assignment. Like there's a grade in Blackboard for it, but like it says it's like past due. So I'd always freak out. It's a really easy tool to use to learn, just because like again you get the unlimited attempts, so there's like not really pressure to get a question wrong or right. There is kind of a lot of there are kind of a lot of questions assigned, so just keep that in mind, but they're kind of like over the same thing. So like it's not like a million different questions, they kind of like are the same concept. And homework was mostly on my lab, so like it was nice to use the feature of like looking at the calendar and seeing what assignments you had to, because I'd constantly forget because it just like wouldn't pop up for me in Blackboard for some reason. And lastly, how to be prepared for this class. I will say, do not be afraid to speak up. It is a very like student driven class almost. So like if you speak up, the class moves so much faster. Like you're going to be like, "Oh, why are we like sitting here in silence for 5 minutes because no one said anything. Like hurry up." And then there is a lot of guidance to help you if you're stuck. And like I became friends with the LAs that were available, so there was like no pressure for me feeling like, oh, I don't know this, like I feel like not that smart right now. But there's plenty of help, not just like one professor. There's multiple TAs, multiple LAs. And not knowing the answer is okay. I felt like this, like the reason I was afraid to speak up was because I didn't know the answer. But not knowing the answer is okay because like that's the whole point of the class, like not knowing the answer and figuring it out. Like it seems weird, but like once you're in the class it makes sense. The whole point, the entirety of class, you're just like figuring out the answer yourself and then you'll come back and work it through. And then lastly, my last thing is be prepared to collaborate with your neighbors. So like that's kind of why this class was nice, because it was a lot of like collaborative work. It's kind of what you make of it, because you're kind of forced to do things alone. You're kind of forced to like work with your table mates, call on the LA yourself. And just like being prepared to know you are in charge of this class essentially is the best tip I could give, I guess. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening.